This is the plaintiff, J. Leslie Sosa Basualdo. She says she loaned her friend, the defendant, money so he could have a surgery to lose weight. And now more than a year has passed and she hasn't been paid back. If she'd just paid her back like $10 a month, she would have been happy. But he copped a nasty attitude with her. She's done playing nice and is suing him here and now for the $1,200 she's owed. This is the defendant, David. He says he worked for the plaintiff and the lines got blurred when she gave him money. He continued to work for her and feels he worked off all of the $1,200 she gave him, and then some, and owes this ungrateful woman nothing. He's accused of failing a friend.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiff loaned a friend money so he could have surgery and lose weight, and he stiffed her. But the defendant says he worked for her and worked off the entire $1,200 loan. It's the case of you lost weight and I lost money.
Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Doug.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Hi. So, Ms. Basualdo, you are suing David. You've asked us not to mention your last name for $1,200 in a loan that you made to him that he refuses to repay you, correct?
That is correct.
What happened here?
I hired him off Craigslist as an IT guy back in 17, and he did very good work. And at one point, he told me he was going to go have an operation. And I said, okay, and he'd be gone for a while, so he went and had his operation. Then he came back and he was sweating. He wouldn't show up for work. So I said to him, David, what's wrong? Because by then he was a friend of mine. He said, well, I have problems. I'm not feeling good. I don't know if the operation went well. I said, do you need money? And he said, maybe. So he said, let me go home and think about it. Okay? So that night he sent me an email, which I have right here.
And in the email he says, you know I have no privacy at night. I think too because maybe I'm just so embarrassed, but I think I will have to take you up on your generous offer to help me out financially. It's very embarrassing. I'm angry at myself. $1,200 would help me out tremendously to take the stress and anxiety out of my life for the time being. So what ends up happening?
So I wrote him a check.
All right, so then hand me a copy of the check. And then has he paid you anything on this?
Absolutely nothing.
Has he when did you loan him that money?
October.
2017, October. Did you ever say to him, you have X amount of time? Like, what was the plan?
Well, then the next thing we did, Jan, he wrote to me, Jan, while I'm beginning to pay you off, I think it's a good time for us to sever our relationship. That I don't want to work for you anymore. Here's the next exhibit.
Okay, and that happens when, in January?
That happened in June 18th or 15th.
Okay, and why did he want to sever your relationship?
I think it doesn't say.
Well, you know why. Why do you think he was telling you that?
Because he's upset that I asked for the money back, I think.
So when you asked him for the money back, what did he say to you?
Then he starts telling me that I should sign up for a Zella account at Chase Bank.
Okay.
Which I did. And here's the information.
So that he could pay you through Zelle?
Yeah.
Okay.
Here's this.
And then did he pay you anything? No. Okay, let me hear your side. What's going on here?
Sure. I don't know if I gave off some clues, if I said something in passing, but several times Jan did ask me if everything was okay, is everything okay financially, which I was a little surprised how she would know that. She told me on several occasions I can come to her if I need help. So I've never borrowed money from a client. Lines were
Yeah, that was probably a good plan to keep.
It's a really good plan. We became friendly, and so the lines were a little blurry, and I had
then you didn't borrow money from a client. You borrowed money from a client who's become a friend, and you borrowed from it. Borrowed it from her as a friend.
We were
and then kept
friendly.
her as a client. And
well, she continued to hire me. I went well beyond the IT support. I mean, originally I was hired to give her computer lessons, which is a large part of what I do. I teach. And that turned into lots of different things: tech support, troubleshooting, help with special software, smart home things, audio visual, a lot of stuff.
Okay, I'm
out
sorry,
of
but you blended the lines between friend and client. I'm not. When you
Okay.
say that stuff, is that stuff you got paid for?
Absolutely.
Okay, so did you borrow $1,200 from your client?
Yes, I understood it
Okay,
as a
so
loan.
why don't you have to pay it back?
So I provided considerably more than 20 hours of free services to her, sometimes not by choice, sometimes being told, oh, this is going to be your gift to me today. Any phone calls at any time, any text messages, remote access into her computer upon her request, things that clients typically ask me to keep a timesheet for and ultimately settle up with.
So why didn't you just keep a timesheet and settle up with?
Yeah, that's a really good question.
Because then it just looks like you're just, you borrowed money from the lady and you're just a heel and you
Well,
don't want to pay
I'm
it back.
sorry.
Because you borrowed money personally, and then you're telling me, well, I worked really hard for her company, so I shouldn't have to pay it. That doesn't make any sense.
I don't think I'm being very clear.
Okay.
I would like to add one other thing, that immediately upon this loan, I suggested two things. I suggested that we do it in trade. I work for you so much, it'll be 2 months, it'll be done. I was pretty much scolded. I don't remember being waiting or anything. One day I was I was scolded about how, no, it's from my personal account and this is business and you can't. My second suggestion was, okay, then I will have to pay it off over time. I mean, obviously I borrowed the money for a reason. Nope, I don't payments. I don't want payments. I want it all at once.
I'm sorry, have you paid a penny?
No.
Okay, so this whole time thing kind of sounds like a lame excuse if you haven't paid a single penny.
Well, the nature of the relationship changed, and Jan became, I don't know how to describe the behavior, not really aggressive, but just much more confrontational with me. I would be blamed for things that I hadn't been there in 3 weeks, and I would be blamed for all this, and I'm throwing it all out the window, and if you don't take care of it, that's it, we're done. It became very abusive. Some disparaging remarks were made.
What's your defense to paying off the loan for the money you borrowed?
So if he did extra work, can he say, okay, we're even Steven now in the loan?
No, not unless they agreed on the front end.
They did not agree on the front end. What do you say?
No, they should have written out a contract.
Okay, does he get his money? Does he get to write off the loan?
No, no way.
No way.
Okay.
No
Money
way.
for money.
Huh?
Money for money.
Money for money. Oh, I like that. Going inside the courtroom.
What is your defense to paying? You're like any other guy here who owes $1,200. What's your special defense that means you don't have to pay the $1,200 you borrowed from her? Because we know you borrowed it, we know you cashed a check, you even tell her to open up a Zelle account and then you don't pay anything on it. So what is your defense to why you don't have to pay back $1,200?
Primarily because I provided her considerably more than $1,200 worth of services.
But see,
for
you
nothing.
don't get to pick how you pay back. You see, your option, if in fact there are hours that you were working, is to say, listen, I get paid for this, so here's your bill. Your monthly bill. Every time you submit a bill, you submit for the hours. She has no problem paying you for what you've worked. She's never not paid you for what you've worked. So how can it possibly be your defense to paying back a personal loan to say, I've just done way more than what I've billed for? No, just bill the company for the work you did.
I should have had that conversation, but it really wasn't the case of, a lot of times I did some work, and again, like I said, it wasn't my choice not to get paid. So I really wasn't paid.
What do you mean by that? I have no idea what you just said.
So for instance, I would do several hours worth of work and be told, that's going to be your Christmas present to me, these hours.
Then say
today.
no and submit a bill.
Yeah, when you have a long-term client.
Well, then that's a choice. You see,
you're right.
If you make the choice that work was going to be free, then don't come to me and say that work counts towards a personal loan, even though I did it for a cut. No, that's not how it works. Verdict for the plaintiff, $1,200.
So the plaintiff prevails. She gets a $1,200 judgment. David, I think you learned a lesson in business control. If you step over here, please.
Absolutely.
What do you think?
Sometimes things are fair, sometimes things are legal.
Okay, very good. From now on, they'll be legal. Right?
But yeah, I learned.
Although
a lot
I doubt
from this.
you'll be working for her anymore. Right?
Probably not, but I've learned a lot about moving forward. And,
Okay, well, good enough. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You must sign a few documents on your way out of the courtroom. I have the instinct that this was kind of a tough decision for you to file a lawsuit against him, was it?
Yes, but it was just for my own self-respect. It has to do with gratitude, which is the shortest-lived emotion. I try to help him, and he turned nasty on me. This was not about the $1,200.
Yeah, I gather that. Well, congratulations. You feel better now? Vindicated?
My soul feels
See,
vindicated.
there you go. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, very
Thank
much.
you.
Good for you. She feels good, Harvey. What do you think?
Okay, I mean, we see this a lot where somebody owes somebody money and then they say, okay, well, I did this and that for the other person, and therefore that's got value to it, and therefore the loan should be canceled. The loan is not canceled, and even if you did do something where you should get money, those are two separate things. You owe money for the loan.